The desert knows me. It has carried my name across its burning winds. It has echoed my poems through its endless silence. But even the desert cannot hold the secret of my return tonight. I am not the prince the world salutes, not the rider whose horse thunders across dunes, not the falcon who soars above storms. No, I am only a man, walking back to the house of my first love. O walls that once embraced her laughter, do you still carry the fragrance of her hands? O courtyard, where her footsteps fell like petals, do you still remember the sound of her anklets? And you, silent door, do you still recognize the one who carved his dreams into your wood? They call me Fazza, but here, before this house, I am not a poet, not a prince. I am only hers. I remember the day this house first became ours. It was not grand, it was not filled with jewels or gold, but when she entered, her smile painted the walls, her laughter became the roof above us, and her patience became the pillars that held me upright when I was weary. She made a kingdom out of dust, a palace out of shadow. She taught me that love is not measured by what we build, but by what we give. How blind I was to leave such light behind. How foolish I became, chasing the world while ignoring the world that already lived in her eyes. Oh, my first love, do you sit behind these walls even now? Does your heart still whisper my name, or has silence taken my place? I do not know, and yet I have returned, guided by a longing stronger than regret. The desert prince they know is fearless. He tames wild horses. He stands tall before kings. He writes verses that pierce like arrows. But here, standing before her door, I am stripped of all crowns. Fear holds me tighter than any chain. For what is the worth of my courage, if I cannot face the eyes of the woman whose love built me from nothing? Oh beloved, do you remember the nights when I would recite poems to the stars, and you would smile saying, "The stars envy you, for you have a heart they will never know"? Do you remember how we planted hope, like seeds in the courtyard soil, dreaming of children who would grow stronger than the desert sun? Those dreams still breathe, though I left them behind. They breathe in me, they breathe in this house, they breathe in the silence that waits between us. I pressed my hand against the gate, and for a moment, the years dissolved. I was young again, she was beside me, and the future was wide as the horizon. But reality cut through like a blade. I had left, and the years had written their story without me. What right did I have to stand here now, demanding to be heard? Yet love does not ask permission. It burns, it consumes, it drives us back to the place where it first began. And so I whispered, not with the voice of a prince, but with the voice of a man lost in love. Oh, my first home, oh, my first love, I do not come to take, I come to return. I do not come as a stranger, but as the one who finally learned that no palace, no throne, no world can ever replace the house that holds your heart. The night listened, the stars leaned closer, and the desert prince, for the first time, felt smaller than a grain of sand at the door of his first love. The first light of dawn touched the desert, but the house of my first love remained cloaked in shadow, a secret waiting for the courage of my return. I remembered how she used to rise before the sun, her hands steady, her heart patient, preparing the small joys that made our home sacred. How many times did I take that for granted, believing the world outside had more to offer than the warmth in her eye? Oh heart, why do you beat so wildly now, when before you rode fearless across storms? Why does one door have the power to unseat a prince, to make him tremble like a child in the sand? I knelt briefly before the gate, not out of fear, but out of reverence. For love, real love, deserves more than pride. It deserves humility, and I, who once believed myself untouchable, now understood the truth. The greatest victory is the one that brings us home. I spoke softly, my words carried by the desert wind. Do you remember me, my first love? Do you remember the nights I promised I would always return. The wind answered with silence, yet I felt her presence in that quiet, a pulse beneath the walls, a heartbeat echoing in the courtyard where jasmine once grew. I raised my eyes to the sky, the stars beginning to fade as morning approached, and whispered again, even if you do not open the door, even if your heart no longer waits, I am here, and I will honor the love that made me whole. The desert around me seemed to pause, holding its breath for the moment to come, as if the world itself knew that some returns are not measured by doors opening, but by the courage to stand and face what we have. The desert was quiet, but my soul roared, each heartbeat echoing against the walls I had once called home. I remembered the laughter that once floated here, the soft steps she took across the courtyard, and the way her hands held the light of our mornings. I had wandered through kingdoms, ridden through storms, but no road could guide me like the one that led back to her door. Oh, first love, I know I am late. The years have drawn lines on your face, perhaps faded the light in your eyes. Yet I come not for what remains, but for the love that never left me, for the house that still breathes your name. I touched the wooden gate, its texture rough beneath my fingers, and felt the weight of all the words I never spoke, the poems I never wrote, the promises I left unfinished in the desert winds. Even the sands seemed to bow to the memory, the wind whispering secrets only she could understand. And I, a prince of deserts, felt like a boy again, humbled by love, humbled by time. I pressed my palm to my chest, feeling the pulse of regret and hope intertwined. I whispered her name into the dawn. Beloved, do you still remember the boy who once promised you the world? Memories broke like waves. Her smile in the morning light, her voice in the evenings, her hands small and strong, that once guided me through every storm. I had chased the horizon, sought glory in lands far from her arms, but no treasure, no victory, no crown could fill the emptiness she left behind. Oh, first love, if the years hardened your heart, if my absence carved rivers of sorrow in your soul, know that I return not as a conqueror, but as the one who finally understands the value of your love, the depth of your patience, the infinite grace you carried for me. I knelt again, not in surrender, but in reverence for the life we once shared, for the home we built in laughter and quiet mornings, for the first love that still ruled my soul. Like a sun over endless dunes, the sun rose higher, bathing the courtyard in gold and shadow, and still the door remained closed. Yet I did not falter, for doors are only wood and hinges, but love is eternal, and the heart remembers even when the world forgets. I spoke to the wind, to the desert, to the walls themselves. Carry my words to her heart. Let her know I return not with pride, not with fame or riches, but with a heart devoted to the love that once made me whole. The jasmine trees shivered in the morning breeze, and I remembered planting them with her, dreaming of the family we would raise, the nights we would spend in laughter and poetry, the mornings filled with her gentle voice. I bowed my head, feeling the weight of all the years, the weight of mistakes and regrets. Yet in that bow, there was hope, a fragile hope that she might hear me, might open the door, might remember the boy who once loved her more than life itself. The desert prince. No, the man stood still, awaiting the miracle only love can bring, knowing that some returns are measured not by doors opening, but by courage, by faith, by the heart's relentless call. The wind shifted, carrying whispers from the house, and my heart raced, sensing her presence behind the walls. The desert, which had been my companion for years, now held its breath, waiting for the reunion that had been written in stars long before my return. I remembered the nights we shared under the same sky, when the moonlight danced upon her hair, and her laughter filled the silence like water in a dry oasis. Those memories, once distant, now pressed against me, with the weight of every unspoken word, every promise broken, every regret. Oh, beloved, do you remember the first time I looked into your eyes? The world fell away, leaving only your gaze, and I swore then, before the desert and the stars, that your heart would be my home forever. How cruel the world is, that even princes wander far from their true home, chasing shadows, while abandoning the sun. I knelt before the gate once more, feeling the pulse of time beneath my palm, and whispered, even if you do not open, even if the years have hardened your heart, I am here, and I will honor the love that made me who I am. For love does not end with absence, nor fade with time. A shadow moved inside, subtle yet undeniable, a flutter of cloth, a hint of presence. My chest tightened. Perhaps she remembered. Perhaps the heart that had waited all these years still beat for the boy who had wandered too far, still waited for the desert prince to return. Oh, my first love, if the door opens, I will kneel again, not as a prince, not as a poet, but as the man who finally understands the depth of your heart, the power of your patience, the eternal grace of your love. The desert stretched around me, endless and silent, yet I felt a quiet triumph within my soul. Even after years of wandering, even after storms of pride and silence, I had returned to the one place where my heart had always belonged. The sun rose higher, spilling gold across the courtyard, and yet the door remained closed. Still, I did not falter, for the house is more than wood and stone. It is a sanctuary of love, a mirror of the heart that waits beyond it. I stood tall, the desert prince of legend, yet humbled by the weight of time and regret. Years had passed, yet my soul remained a child, longing for the warmth of the one who first taught it to feel. Oh, my first love, if you hear my voice carried by the morning wind, know that I return with nothing but devotion. I do not bring treasures, I do not bring fame or crowns, I bring only the heart that has wandered, the soul that has learned, and the love that has never faded. I pressed my palm to the door, and for a moment it seemed to pulse beneath my hand, as if alive with memory, with longing, with forgiveness. The air shimmered with possibility, and my heart dared to hope. Even if the door remains shut, even if her eyes never meet mine again, I have returned, and that is enough. For some journeys are not about arrival, but about courage, about the willingness to face the place that holds our truest self. I whispered her name one last time, and the desert listened, holding the secret between us. Perhaps she will open, perhaps not, but I know this. I have returned to the house of my first love, and in returning, I have found a home for my soul. Once more, the wind carried my vow across the courtyard, and the desert, my eternal witness, sang with the echoes of love that never died.